The teams are taking their places on the pitch. It's time to hand you over to our commentary team for the day. The former Charlton, Ipswich and Republic of Ireland midfielder Matt Holland. But first, our match commentator, Nigel Adderley.
Thank you, Reshman. For Spurs, any trophy will do after so long without one. So no one inside this stadium today will be saying the cup doesn't matter. This club built its reputation on what they did under the Twin Towers in May. And for players like Harry Kane, this is a presentable opportunity. Portsmouth arrive here halfway up League One and without a manager, but they've lifted the FA Cup much more recently than Spurs, although they paid a very high price for the experience. A reminder of the two teams once again. 8 changes for Tottenham. Hill, Son and Kane, the only players retained from that win at Palace. It is Forster in goal, former Southampton goalkeeper, so he's guaranteed a warm welcome from the Pompey fans. Tanganga, Sanchez and Davis the back three. Emerson Royale, Basuma, Sarr and Sessegnon across midfield. Hill, Son and Kane in attack. For Pompey, 4 changes from the 3-1 loss at home to Charlton, which spelt the end for Danny Cowley. Marlon Pack was sent off in that game. He's suspended. Dane Scarlett is on loan from Tottenham. Ronan Curtis and Joe Pigott are on the bench. Ryan Tunnicliffe and Rico Hackett-Fairchild come into midfield. Denver Hume will be part of the back 5. Colby Bishop, the lone striker. It is Griffiths in goal. Swanson, Morrison, Raggett, Ogilvie and Hume across the back. Dale, Morrell, Tunnicliffe and Hackett-Fairchild in midfield. Bishop, the lone striker. Thomas Bramall is our referee. Grey skies overhead, but it's a raucous atmosphere inside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Very good crowd inside this arena as well, helped out by 9,000 who have made the journey up from the south coast. It is one of the best days in the football calendar. 3rd round Saturday. There will be shocks, there will be glory, and it's all here on Talksport. And Tottenham in their white shirts and dark blue shorts are defending the goal away to our right, the Old Park Lane end in the first half. 1 or 2 empty seats inside the stadium, but I would think well in excess of 55,000 here today. Matt Holland is alongside me, and we've seen Tottenham as the counter-attacking side in the Premier League so far this season. So how will they play when they've got the ball?
Well, I don't think they can do that today. I think they're up against a team who are going to be quite solid defensively, set up in a back 5. It is a back 5, we thought it would be, and I think Portsmouth will look to soak up pressure. So I don't think they can play as a counter-attacking team today, Tottenham. They're going to have to look to dominate the ball, try and get Kane, Son and Hill into the game very quickly. I thought Harry Kane against Crystal Palace the other day, he gave an absolute masterclass in the second half. That partnership between himself and Son looked to be getting back to where it should be, and Brian Hill I thought was a breakthrough performance in that game as well.
Long throw from Ogilvie into the Spurs penalty area, flicked on by Raggett, headed away by Tanganga. But Pompey, though, have made a good start here in the opening 75 seconds. Ogilvie with a cross into the area, a back header from Harry Kane onto the roof of the netting. And the first corner of the game goes to the League One side.
It's been a good start, actually, from Portsmouth. They've looked to take the game to Tottenham. They're playing in the opposition final third. Decent ball into the area as well from Ogilvie, curling in towards the goalkeeper, and Harry Kane had to get a touch on it.
Ryan Tunnicliffe back in the side today. The former Millwall player will take the in-swinging corner from the far side for Portsmouth into the 6-yard area. Good header away at the near post by Tanganga, but Portsmouth quickly have it back, and it's been a good start from them. Denver Hume wide to the far side, infield to Hackett-Fairchild. He's lost out, but it's quickly won back by Tunnicliffe. Heavy touch from him. Skip will now play it forward to Son, and now there's space for Hill to bring it forward for Tottenham. Down the right-hand side, twinkling feet and a floppy fringe up towards the edge of the penalty area into Harry Kane, but a good challenge though on the edge of the penalty area, and eventually Pompey will bring the ball clear up towards the halfway line.
So skipping midfield, no Basuma, because Basuma was listed, wasn't he, in the starting 11.
Yeah, that's interesting. A very late change made by Tottenham. Oliver Skipp did start the game against Crystal Palace on Wednesday. Yves Basuma was listed to start this game. Of course, he's had injury problems recently, was also suspended, but Oliver Skipp is in the starting lineup. Son with a ball in field, looking for Kane. And it's gathered on the far side by Tanganga. And now further wide to Sessignon, who steps in field, finding Skip on the edge of the penalty area, and coming back to scramble it behind is Dale, and Spurs will have their first corner with 3 minutes played on Talksport, and it's Tottenham 0, Pompey 0.
Yeah, I wonder what that is with Yves Bissouma. It's a strange one, isn't it? Because we've not been given any indication as to why he's not starting the game. Maybe he picked up an injury in the warm-up, but it is Skip alongside Sarr in midfield.
And it will be a corner kick on the far side in front of all of those Portsmouth supporters who have all three tiers of the bulk of the Old Paxton Road end, and the bottom tier of Pompey fans also snakes around that corner flag towards the far side as well. Tremendous support for the League One side, characteristic of the passion for that club on the south coast. And Thomas Bramwell, the referee, just sorting one or two things out inside the 6-yard area. Tanganga was just tangling with Denver Hume, and it will be an outswinging corner from the masked South Korean Son Heung-min in towards the 6-yard area. It evades everybody, comes all the way out to this near side, and Skip, and he plays it off balance towards the halfway line, and Sessignon. And now Tottenham have it on the far side again with Kane. And there's an opportunity for them to work it further wide with Sarr. Emerson Royale takes over.
So Adrian Jones just kindly sent me a message about Yves Bissouma. Tottenham did tweet at 12:20. There's been a change to today's team. Bissouma's replaced by Oliver Skip, and Romain Mundle is now on the bench.
And Romain Mundle, one of the real youngsters in the team.
And he did pick up a knock in the warm-up, Spurs have said.
Well, that explains it. Not too many youngsters involved today. Harvey White, who is now 21, so almost not a youngster, is on the bench for Tottenham, along with Alfie Devine, the 18-year-old. Now Hill, wide to the far side, and Emerson Royale, of course. Brian Hill, only 21 years of age, but he's made a very different route towards this Tottenham first team. Ben Davies on the halfway line into Kane, but his layoff is a poor one, straight to Dale. Now Hackett Fairchild having his shirt pulled by Hill in the centre circle for Portsmouth, and it's wide to this near side again, and further wide on this near side by Michael Morrison, very experienced player. Played forward over the halfway line quickly by Joe Morrell, and he was caught there by Skip, and it will be a free kick for Portsmouth. And with 5 minutes played here on Talksport, they'll be very happy with the start they've made.
It's been a confident start from the visitors. They've passed the ball nicely, under pressure from Tottenham. They've had good first control, kept the ball well. It's slightly different to the way we thought they were going to set up. Said back five, midfield four and one up top. It's actually two up top. It's Bishop and Dale up front. So it's a 5-3-2 formation for Portsmouth.
And Simon Bassey, the interim manager, following the dismissal of the Cowley brothers in midweek, just having a word with Zach Swanson, a former Arsenal youngster in front of us. Hackett Fairchild with a free kick into the penalty area. Poor delivery, overhit, and it's gone behind for a goal kick. And judging by the hand movements from Simon Bassey, he's saying keep it compact, get more narrow.
They are playing quite narrow defensively. They're trying to force Tottenham to go out wide.
And of course that's something which Tottenham have been very happy to do in the Premier League with the wing-backs for much of the season. Sessignon with a dart now down the left, but Son's ball doesn't find him. They're also underway over on Talksport 2 at Priestfield. Gillingham against Leicester with Ian Danter and Scott Minto. And Game Day Live with Adrian Durham today, live from Boreham Wood. And Blackpool against Forest will be on Talksport 2 with Mark Wilson and Chris Awelamo. And we have two more commentaries later on into the evening. Brentford against West Ham will be here on Talksport 2 with Alex Crook and David Connolly. And then 8 o'clock on Talksport, Liverpool against Wolves with Adam Bridge and Mickey Gray. And we've got two very interesting ties tomorrow. Cardiff Leeds at 2 o'clock, and at 4:30 Manchester City against Chelsea. Davis now on this near side for Tottenham. 7 minutes played, 0-0. Skip finding Tanganga, and now Emerson Royale quickly challenged by Hume, and Hume caught him. Emerson Royale just a bit too clever for him there, and it will be a free kick for Spurs, level with the edge of the Pompey penalty area on the Tottenham right.
Yeah, I think Spurs have got a good opportunity today to create overloads in those wide areas. Emerson Royale and Ryan Sessegnon are staying very wide. Tanganga and Ben Davies, I think, will have the opportunity to get forward and support them as well from those wide centre-back positions. And then Brian Hill and Son as well drifting out, so they can really heavily overload the wide areas today.
No goals in any of the other 12:30 kick-offs. A reminder, Forest Green against Birmingham was called off due to a waterlogged pitch. Son over the free kick on the far side, swept high into the penalty area, headed away at the near post, and then a missed kick from Sessegnon. And then Sarr on the halfway line will turn and find Sessegnon again, but the pass was behind Davis. He does well to recover to evade Swanson, and now Sessegnon using his pace on this near side. Raggett comes out to make the challenge, and eventually the low ball in is deflected off the Pompey captain behind for a corner.
Well, we're 10 minutes into the game, and Tottenham's best areas of attack have come out wide. Emerson Royale, Sessegnon, Son down the left-hand side, Ben Davies getting forward from that left centre-back position.
Son with the corner again, short towards the near post, and Sarr. And Son now will look to attack the penalty area. I think he was looking for Sarr to come forward on the overlap, but he heads backwards, and his ball into the penalty area is cleared. And now Hackett-Fairchild plays it wide to this near side, the right, and there is space for Dale to come in field, back towards Swanson on the halfway line, and short to Joe Morrell, the Welsh international. A raking ball from him from right to left towards the far side. Hume with the early cross into the penalty area, claimed well by Fraser Forster.
Great switch of play from Morrell. He's been in good form of late. Fresh, of course, from the World Cup in Qatar with Wales.
Of course, I wouldn't say fresh from the World Cup with Wales. He was there. And now Spurs bring it forward now. More and more fans coming into the stadium. Obviously, transport problems across the country today as Skip comes forward for Tottenham, but the cross into the area just takes a deflection off Raggett and loops high into the arms of Josh Griffiths, the Portsmouth goalkeeper, defending the goal away to our left. Really good crowd inside this stadium, not too far short of capacity now.
Yeah, really full. It was a little quiet, wasn't it, with 10 minutes to go. The Tottenham fans have taken their time to get to their seats, but it does look pretty packed now. The Portsmouth fans were in here half an hour before the game started. They were all in here singing, making a noise, plenty of noise.
Well, the coaches were leaving around Fratton Park at 7 o'clock this morning, and there were hundreds of them making the journey up the M3. And if you aren't driving, then coach travel was the only way to get here today for travelling from Portsmouth, and it just shows the potential of that club that so many fans come here today. Griffiths clears downfield for Pompey. It's over the head of Bishop, but the ball drifts out of play on this near side, and Tottenham will have a throw in. The last meeting between these two clubs was in that FA Cup semi-final back in 2010 when Portsmouth won by 2-0 on their way to relegation, on their way to the final, which they lost against Chelsea. And they've met in a number of significant FA Cup ties over the years. Back in 1991 at Fratton Park, Paul Gascoigne scored twice for Tottenham when he carried that team towards Wembley before self-destructing in the final. Swanson with a high ball forward for Pompey, headed down as far as Hackett-Fairchild. He's challenged by Sarr. Hume with an early cross into the penalty area. Bishop nods it down for Hackett-Fairchild, who goes for the acrobatic overhead kick, and it's turned aside by Forster for a corner, and the League One side close to the opening goal.
Well, I think this has been a really positive start from Portsmouth. I like the formation. I like the fact that they're playing two up top. We felt that it might have been a 5-4-1 with Colby Bishop up on his own, but if that was the case, he would have been isolated. At least this way, he's got bodies around him. Dale's really close to him. Hackett-Fairchild is really getting himself forward as well, getting himself into the box on the end of that knockdown.
And Hackett-Fairchild looking to attack now as the corner's fisted away by Fraser Forster. Swanson gathers, plenty of blue shirts still forward, high into the penalty area, nodded away by Tanganga. Really good start here by Portsmouth. They are nullifying Tottenham moving forward, although having said that, Hackett-Fairchild now fouls Brian Hill, and it will be a free kick with 12 minutes played, and yet again Tottenham not making the best start in the game.
No, they haven't done it. I said that Portsmouth are playing quite narrow, and they've got the extra man in the middle of the pitch. You know, Tottenham, the way that they play this 3-4-3 system, they play with two central midfielders, and they can get overloaded in the middle of the park, and that's the case at the moment. Every time the ball drops down in the middle of the pitch, it's a Portsmouth shirt that are winning it.
Davies coming forward now on this near side, forward to Son. who scored a rare Premier League goal for him this season at Selhurst Park on Wednesday. Sarr, wide to the far side, and Emerson Royal and Tottenham rather laboured in possession in the opening moments. Davis, wide towards Son again. Kane waits on the edge of the penalty area. Son will try and take on Swanson. Early cross into the penalty area, cleared away by Morrison, and then flicked behind by Swanson for another Spurs corner.
There were signs Son was getting back to his best, wasn't it, against Crystal Palace? I know he's not enjoying playing with the mask. He said that his parents, didn't he say his parents are saying that he's got to wear it, got to continue to wear it, but he's not enjoying wearing it. Absolutely, Nigel.
Corner kick for Son on this near side. And it will be another in-swinger. Sarr makes his way into the penalty area. And it's high to the far post. Griffiths is there. Oh, he missed his punch. And Kane, 6 yards out, misses his kick. He seemed to then bring down Morrison as Tunnicliffe brings it clear. And Dale will now try and attack on the far side. But an escape there for Josh Griffiths. But Tottenham win it back. Here is Emerson Royal in the central area. But his dabbed ball forward is beyond heel. And it's gathered more comfortably by the Pompey goalkeeper. And there's been the opening goal at Selhurst Park and an all Premier League tie. Here's Talksport Sam Allard.
And it's Crystal Palace 1, Southampton 0. It's Odsonne Edouard. He is the goal scorer. Lovely through ball by Wilfred Zaha. He got a little bit lucky. His first touch bounced off his knee, but it made sure he was 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper, and his effort went through Bazzuno's legs. He probably should have done better, but Palace lead 1-0.
Thanks, Sam. 0-0 here with 14 minutes played on Talksport. And it's also Gillingham 0, Leicester 0 over on Talksport 2 with Ian Danta and Scott Minto as Davis plays the ball forward again behind Skip. It almost finds Harry Kane on the edge of the D, but Portsmouth will clear. But Hackett Fairchild has not found Dale on the halfway line, and that's the out ball at the moment for Portsmouth, with Colby Bishop often coming deep. But Portsmouth have now won it, or Tottenham have won it back, and it's Davis again on this near side. Wide towards Ryan Sessegnon. Sessegnon will be more conservative and find Skip, and Tottenham here are having plenty of ball inside the Portsmouth half, but at the moment they're lacking real penetration, and that's epitomised by that ball in from Hill, which is right down the throat of Josh Griffiths.
Yeah, overhit, aiming for Harry Kane in the middle, straight into the goalkeeper's arms, who actually, that set piece moments ago, made a bit of a mess, didn't he, of the ball in from Son, and Harry Kane has come closest to breaking the deadlock. His shot blocked by Denver Hume. Tottenham got a really good record from set pieces this season, scored plenty of goals from corners in the Premier League.
Portsmouth with only one win in 14 games, and that was against the bottom side in League One, Forest Green Rovers. And that was after 6 wins in a row. They were at the top of League One in the early weeks of the season, now 12th, 9 points away from the playoffs, and the Cowley brothers pay for that run of form with their jobs, despite progress to this tie, winning against Hereford and MK Dons in the previous rounds. As Tottenham come forward again now with Emerson Royal. Heel looking to skip away from the challenge of Morel, but he overruns it, and it's behind for a goal kick.
Well, it started to take shape now, the game. Tottenham totally dominating possession. Portsmouth sat in a decent defensive shape, but they are starting to see plenty of the ball. Injured in midfield, I think Sarr's just going to sit. He's going to sit in front of the back three, look to get on the ball. We've seen Skip already make a couple of good runs into the box, much like when Højbjerg plays, and actually Bentancur makes some good runs into the area and joins Kane, Son and Heel. But Skip early on is the one of the midfield two that's looking to get beyond.
16 minutes played, busy afternoon of FA Cup third round football across the Talksport network, and we should also say good morning to our listeners in the USA and Canada, listening on our partner station Sirius XM FC, as Tottenham win a free kick. Quickly played forward to Emerson Royal. He was looking for Harry Kane, who was in behind Conor Ogilvie for a second, but again the ball was overhit and it's claimed by Griffiths.
That's poor from Emerson Royal, because there's nobody closing him down. He's got time on the ball. Harry Kane's timed his run to perfection. He just gets too much on it.
Bishop now leaping with Davis on this near side. They both get a touch on the high ball. Tottenham go long again, and it's cleared by Sean Raggett, and then Morel is caught by Hill, and it's a free kick for Portsmouth just inside their own half. Sean Raggett will take it. He scored the winning goal for Lincoln City when they as a non-league club, won at Premier League Burnley back in 2017. I remember that day very well, when Danny Cowley was also the manager of that club. No longer, of course, at Fratton Park, as Raggett takes the free kick, headed away by Tanganga on the far side. But Portsmouth have almost got to the 20-minute mark here with relatively few alarms, Matt Holland.
Yeah, I think they'll be pretty pleased with the start that they've made.
Now Davis finding Oliver Skipp again, who was a late inclusion following an injury for Yves Bissouma in the warm-up. Now Emerson Royale back towards Sarr, a long diagonal ball from him, looking to exploit the pace of Ryan Sessegnon, who's quick but not quick enough to keep that ball in play. And at the moment the Tottenham passing radar is way off.
Yeah, they've given the ball away a little too cheaply in the opening 20 minutes or so. It was interesting, before the game I was trying to predict the teams. Yesterday you're doing your notes, you're preparing for the game, and I was trying to predict the two lineups. Tottenham's team I've got pretty much spot on. The one I didn't get was Jed Spence. I thought that Jed Spence might have got the nod today at right wing back. Emerson Royale's playing in that position, but I thought he might have started today.
Well, Jed Spence is on the bench alongside a World Cup winner, Christian Romero, but not too many attacking options. And with Lucas Moura and Richarlison and Kulusevski all on the injured list, Tottenham are very, very light in that area at the moment. And in the short term, at least, you would think they need reinforcements during this month, as the ponytailed Tunnicliffe brings it forward on this near side, looking for options, and in the end has given the ball straight to Son. But he's worked hard to win it back, Ryan Tunnicliffe. Now Swanson down the Pompey right-hand side in front of us. Morrell finding the shaven-headed Ogilvie on the far side. And the former Sunderland man, Denver Hume, in Portsmouth, fairly comfortable in possession at the moment. And that's epitomised, by the way, that Joe Morrell was given time on the ball there, and then he's fouled by Pape Sarr, and it's another Pompey free kick. And as we approach the 20-minute mark, they're looking fairly contained, and there's no real alarms.
They're looking composed, I would say, as well, because, you know, this is a big occasion. They're against a big side, and it's a big day for them. But they don't look under pressure at all. Joe Morrell, Ryan Tunnicliffe, both composed on the ball, looking to get on it as well. I think it's been an excellent start from them. They look in good shape, well organised, and they look a threat on the counter as well.
Still goalless in all of the other 12:30 kickoffs, apart from Palace 1, Southampton 0. Gillingham against Leicester over on Talksport 2, as Tunnicliffe heads it forward here for Pompey towards the edge of the area. Dale works it wide towards Swanson, back towards Dale again, who tries to turn. Tunnicliffe in space on the edge of the penalty area, poked through to Hackett Fairchild on the right, just beyond him and behind for a goal kick. But the legions of Pompey fans behind the goal away to our left are fairly satisfied with what they're seeing at the moment, and they have filled 3 tiers of around 2/3 of the Paxton Road stand. And it is a great sight if you are a Portsmouth fan. It's a great sight for the FA Cup. Although, of course, Portsmouth, they're lower league, but they are another big club. One of several at that level, alongside the likes of Ipswich, Sheffield Wednesday, Bolton Wanderers, looking to get promotion back to the Championship. And as Sunderland showed in recent years, it can take you a long time to get back. Davis with a cross into the penalty area, blocked at the near post by a leaping Tunnicliffe, and it bobbles behind for a corner kick.
What the setup of the game is that Portsmouth are looking to dominate the centre areas, the middle of the pitch. They've got the extra man, but they're allowing Spurs the wide areas. And Ben Davis there, plenty of time on the ball. In fact, took too long in getting his cross into the box. He was looking for Harry Kane, but Tunnicliffe came across eventually and got the block in.
Son with the corner kick into the near post, and it was a good delivery. And I think Colby Bishop was there challenging with Sean Raggett to head the ball over his own crossbar, and it will be another corner kick.
Yeah, it was Bishop with the final touch. This is a ball in from Son. Whipped him, real pace, right in the middle of the 6-yard box. Difficult to defend.
Bishop with 3 FA Cup goals so far this season, the leading goal scorer overall with 14 for Portsmouth. But he's been on the bench recently. Son with another corner into the 6-yard area. This time Griffiths stays at home. It's cleared as far as Skipp. Wide to Brian Hill. Slight figure down the Spurs right-hand side. Checks back a couple of times beyond Tunnicliffe. Now brings Emerson Royale into the game. But Portsmouth do a good job of forcing Spurs back towards the halfway line, and that's appreciated by those supporters behind that goal. Here is Son now trying his luck down the left to attack the penalty area. And Son continues, but it's a good challenge though by Swanson, who just waited his moment and then clears down the line. And there are some big name players for Tottenham in their attacking line, and at the moment they're being nullified.
That was excellent defending from Swanson, because Spurs did a really good job of switching play quickly. They got blocked out down the right-hand side, so they rechanneled it down the left. Son was 1v1v Swanson. He defended it superbly.
Adrian Durham live from Boreham Wood against Accrington with Game Day Live today. Some good ties coming up at 3 o'clock. Chesterfield against West Brom, Fleetwood against Queen's Park Rangers. Among those sides looking to cause an upset. And then Wrexham, one of the non-league sides left in the competition, there at Coventry at 5:30. As Brian Hill plays it back to the halfway line for Spurs again. Here is Davis. Now Son, both sets of players wearing black armbands following the death yesterday of Gianluca Vialli. Now Royale once again. But it's very difficult for Tottenham to break Portsmouth down at the moment. Here is Sessegnon looking to attack down the left-hand side. Swanson again shows good pace to stick with him. The final touch was off Sessegnon, and that's a goal kick, and Tottenham need to move the ball a bit quicker.
They need to move the ball a bit quicker. They need to deliver the ball into the area a bit quicker as well. This season they've got the most open play crosses in the Premier League. They're a team that likes to cross the ball, but up to this point they've been a little bit slow in delivering it. Harry Kane's had his arm up a couple of times asking for it, and it hasn't come in. He's been a bit frustrated that the ball hasn't come in quicker.
Well, Spurs haven't lost in 43 home ties against lower division clubs since they were beaten here 1-0 against Nottingham Forest back in the third round in a replay in 1975, which was Brian Clough's first game in charge at the City Ground. So they usually get the job done, although they've had one or two issues in recent years. They were a goal down here to Morecambe in round 3 before sending on the big guns and winning 3-1 last season. And Wycombe came close to an upset here a few years ago when they were a couple of goals up before losing 4-3. As Skip bursts into the penalty area, and he's challenged by Griffiths. He wants a corner, but it's another goal kick. And have Tottenham had a shot yet?
Harry Kane's shot from the corner that was blocked, wasn't it, by Denver Hume? I think that's the only real danger that we've seen for Portsmouth. There's another run from Skip as well, from deep. His touch gets away from him. Take you back to the game against Crystal Palace when Harry Kane scored his second goal. His first touch and finish, absolutely perfect. This time Skip makes a similar run into the box, but his first touch gets away from him. Means he can't get the shot away.
Now Bishop for Portsmouth, just losing out to Sarr midway inside the Spurs half, but it's recovered by Morel. And here is Hume moving forward now. And was he caught on the edge of the penalty area? Not according to Thomas Bramall. Hill will bring it forward, and he's done well to ride a couple of challenges. One of them when he was on the ground, and he's found Oliver Skip. Skip's first touch again was a bit heavy, and he clatters into Morrison. The referee allows play to continue. I think it was a 50-50 ball, and that's what the referee is saying to a couple of Pompey players who are complaining. I think it was a block tackle by Morrison, and he came off worst.
Yeah, he's hurt. Doesn't look good, does it, for him? I mean, he's a tough character, and he's trying to get back to his feet now very gingerly. Another heavy touch from Skip, though. Touch tackle, and that was a bad one, wasn't it?
Studs were raised by Skip there, down the ankle of Morrison, looking at the replay.
Yeah, that's not a good challenge, is it? I mean, his touch moments ago when he drove into the box was a heavy one. This is exactly the same. I know he's trying to drive forward, but it got away from him, and on the stretch, he did catch Morrison. Tough character, back on his feet. Looks like he'll be okay, but not a good challenge.
A reminder, Palace leading Southampton by 1-0. Goalless between Preston and Huddersfield, and Reading and Watford and Gillingham against Leicester, which is ongoing over on Talksport 2. And we're watching replays of this challenge, and the more you look at it, the worse it looks.
Well, it's going away from him, isn't it? So he's really on the stretch, and on the stretch his studs are showing. He does catch the centre half, who was in plenty of pain
We do have VAR for this game. Graham Scott is on duty at Stockley Park, but not called into action there. 27 minutes played here on Talksport. The FA Cup third round, and it's still Tottenham 0, Portsmouth 0.
And the stats are that both teams have had one shot each. Portsmouth's shot on target, Tottenham's not.
And Tottenham have made so many slow starts in recent games. They've conceded the opening goal in 10 of their previous 11 games, and the match which snapped that run was the 4-0 success at Crystal Palace on Wednesday. Here is Hill now down the right-hand side. The ball in field is cut out by Morel, and Dale will try and bring it forward now down the left. A very firmly hit ball back to Denver Hume, but he skips away from Hill. And Morel will now find Ogilvie. Ogilvie, though, pirouettes away from Hill. Very composed defending, and it's a good ball forward to find Hackett Fairchild over the halfway line. Dale in space to the left. Bishop waits inside the penalty area. Dale now skips away from the challenge of Son. Tunnicliffe in a central area, 35 yards from goal. Looks to the right and Swanson, and Portsmouth are moving plenty of bodies forward here. But Swanson, choosing the more conservative approach, goes all the way back to his goalkeeper Josh Griffiths. But the olays beginning to come from the Portsmouth supporters, but Hackett Fairchild has given it straight to Emerson Royal on the far side. Now Son, who has had plenty of the ball so far. He does get a free kick after just being clipped by Bishop. And now Davis from that free kick brings it forward for Tottenham. Sessegnon finding Davis again inside the penalty area. The cross in is blocked by Tunnicliffe, and it's another Tottenham corner with half an hour played. 0-0.
I actually feel that Tottenham's biggest threat is coming down the left-hand side rather than the right-hand side. I look at the makeup of Portsmouth's midfield. Tunnicliffe's playing on the right-hand side of Morel, who's in the middle, and Hackett Fairchild on left. He's quite left-side biased, so he's doing his defensive job. He's getting back and tracking Emerson Royal. Tunnicliffe's tucking in alongside Morel, and it's leaving a lot of space down the left for Tottenham to attack.
Corner kick which Son will take on this near side. Again, Pape Sarr is the option short. And Tottenham have every outfield player around the penalty area. Son with an in-swinger straight into the arms of Josh Griffiths.
Yeah, that's not a good delivery from Son. So far his corners have been dangerous and difficult to defend. That one straight into the arms of the goalkeeper.
Tottenham do have Lucas Moura, Richarlison, Bentancur and Kulusevski on the injured list. Ivan Perisic and Eric Dyer are the only frontline names who are not involved at all today. Everybody else is either playing or on the bench. And as far as the attacking resources go, basically what's out on the field at the moment is all they have. I mean, they could maybe bring Jed Spence on as an attacking right-sided player, but that's about it. Now Son down the left-hand side, checks onto the right foot, and again it's catching practice for Josh Griffiths.
It is. I actually think this is a decent ball though, aiming towards the goalkeeper. Any sort of a touch beats him. Tunnicliffe, I said, he's playing on that right-hand side of midfield of the three in there, and he's very, 5-10 yards off Son. He's so scared of Son's pace that he's dropping off him, so Son had the ability to put the ball into the air. I don't think that's a bad ball. He's looking then at Kane really to go and attack that.
Harry Kane, of course, on 264 Tottenham goals. Jimmy Greaves on 266. Well, that's the latest record that Harry Kane has in his sights. But all the noise at the moment is coming from the Portsmouth supporters away to our left-hand side as Conor Ogilvie is shaping up for a long throw from this near side, the Pompey right. 31 minutes played, it is still 0-0. Ogilvie in towards the near post, it's flicked on by Morrison, and then Morel on the edge of the penalty area tries to nod it back towards the edge of the box. Tottenham clear, but here is Ogilvie again, left side is central defender on the right hand side, so it's infield to Morel. Tunnicliffe providing the width on this near side again. And both sides have been rather narrow in the game so far. For Pompey, you can maybe understand that. But here is Dale looking to attack down the right-hand side. Beyond Emerson Royal, the cross is eventually blocked, and it will bobble out on the far side by the corner flag for a Pompey throw.
He's been busy, Owen Dale. He's got a freedom as well. He's not playing set with Colby Bishop up top. He's got licence to roam, licence to get on the ball. He's drifting into wide areas. He's finding space. He's been difficult to pick up.
Owen Dale on loan from Blackpool, but allowed to play in this game.
Yeah, there was talk about him being cup-tied, wasn't there? But they did give him permission.
Dane Scarlett not involved for Pompey. On loan from Tottenham. Ogilvie with a long throw in towards the near post. Raggett was challenging for it, but it bounces clear. Raggett is penalised for just bumping into a Tottenham player who is down on the far side, Emerson Royale. And it will be a Spurs free kick, but 12 minutes to play in the first half, and now half-time, getting to half-time at least 0-0 is a reachable target for Portsmouth.
The game's gone really quickly. I've just looked at the clock. Can't believe that 33 minutes have passed by this fast. It's been a really intriguing game, competitive game. Portsmouth very much in this.
Well, they've had the best chance. The volley from Hackett Fairchild, which was palmed aside by Fraser Forster, who has been involved in cup action this season. Of course, a Scottish Cup winner with Celtic in the past, and played in the Premier League on Boxing Day against Brentford when he didn't have one of his best days, it must be said. Hill on the far side for Tottenham, but again they come in field into the more congested area. Davis with a low ball forward, but it's blocked by Morel, his Welsh international teammate, on the edge of the penalty area. But here is Sessegnon now with a low cross in. Swanson, who's had a fine game so far, again makes the challenge and forces Sessegnon wide to this near side where Spurs have only a throw-in.
They've got to switch the play quicker, Tottenham. Every time they're doing that, they're dragging Portsmouth out of position. They've got to move the ball fast and they've got to switch it quickly. Try and create those overloads out wide.
Son coming forward again now. Kane in towards Son on the edge of the penalty area, but it's so crowded, and Son tries to thread the eye of the needle with the ball forward, which is blocked, and Pompey will clear.
Yeah, a sea of blue shirts in the way of Harry Kane. It's the first time we've seen Harry Kane come as deep as that, though. Generally, he's stayed up top, hasn't he, in this game? You know, we've seen him quite a lot in recent times come deep, and he's done it again now.
And now Son looking to fasten onto another high ball forward, but it's claimed by Josh Griffiths, who just slides out on a very greasy playing surface here. Persistent rain since kick-off time. It's been a wild day as well, with squally showers at times, but it's calmer here inside this huge bowl of a stadium. As Davinson Sanchez plays it wide to the far side, and Tanganga, two players recalled by Antonio Conte today, who's been very visible just outside the Tottenham technical area. He left his media duties to Christian Stellini before this game, understandable following the loss of his great friend Gianluca Vialli yesterday, but he's heavily involved in the thick of this game at the moment, with 35 minutes played on Talksport. Still goalless as well at Priestfield between Gillingham and Leicester over on Talksport 2. Games coming up later on over on Talksport 2. Blackpool against Forest at 3 o'clock. Brentford against West Ham at 5:30. Here on Talksport at 8 o'clock, it is Liverpool against Wolves. Tomorrow, Cardiff against Leeds at 2. Manchester City against Chelsea at 4:30. Both of those games live on Talksport. And on Monday night, we have Oxford against Arsenal. Live football on the Talksport network every night next week. FA Cup, Carabao Cup and Premier League. Download the Talksport app and go to the live commentary section for full details. Now Davis wide to this near side, and Sessegnon. 8.5 minutes to play in the first half. Sessegnon with the cross in, and the flying Griffiths fists the ball away wide at the far post. The cross in from Emerson Royale, appeals for handball from him, but nobody else, as it's cleared away. Now Hill has it for Tottenham again down the right. Royale goes down, claims he was just blocked off there as he nutmegged Dale. Portsmouth will clear, and the referee waves play on.
That was right in front of the Portsmouth fans. They're letting him know what they think about that. They think he went down to ground far too easy. What a ball by Sessegnon just moments earlier as well. Real tester for the goalkeeper, Josh Griffiths.
And Tottenham have not really done enough of that so far, as Morel breaks things up once again. Forward towards Bishop, and now Tunnicliffe takes over as Pompey try and break over the halfway line. Dale will chase a long ball forward, but it's overhit into the arms of Fraser Forster. There's been another goal at Selhurst Park. Here's Sam Allard.
It's Crystal Palace 1, Southampton 1, and yes, you guessed it, it comes from a James Ward-Prowse free kick, but not a traditional free kick from Ward-Prowse. It's the cross from the left-hand side. He whips it in with good pace. Joel Ward couldn't clear. It went over his head and into the back of the net. Crystal Palace 1, Southampton 1.
Cheers, Sam. That's the only game with goals so far. A reminder, Forest Green against Birmingham was called off, and the matches at Preston, Reading and Gillingham are all goalless like this one. And we have 7 minutes to play in the first half here. And it's Spurs 0, Pompey 0. A game low on chances, but when you have a Premier League big hitter against a lower league club, albeit a big lower league club like Portsmouth, it's a match which will always hold the interest. Now Davis. Tottenham looking to create some width down the left-hand side with Sessegnon, but he comes in field to find Kane on the half-turn, challenged by Morel. Morel then loses out to Son, and he catches Son. And this is an opportunity for Tottenham, a free kick left of centre, about 25 yards from goal.
Yeah. They'll be fighting over this one. You'd imagine that Harry Kane will be favourite. In fact, he's just picked up the ball now and about to place it down. They've been really tight to Harry Kane. They've not given him an inch, really. He's tried to just drop off deep and was tackled really well by Morel, and then Son picked up the loose ball and was caught by the Portsmouth midfielder. And this is a good position, slight angle, favours the right footer, and Harry Kane has placed the ball and is set to take it.
And there have been goals in the big game in League 2 today. 12:30 kick-off, it's Salford City 2, Northampton 1. Colin McElhaney has given Salford the lead once again in that game. But Harry Kane, 2 goals behind Jimmy Greaves, is over the free kick here for Tottenham. And he will hit this right-footed. There are 2 walls in front of him, and it's Kane who curls it low into the Portsmouth wall, then wins it back, wide towards Sessegnon, high cross to the far post, and it was a free header inside the 6-yard area for Davinson Sanchez, and he plants it wide.
Yeah, I think this was a difficult one though, because he's on the stretch. He's done his best to try and control it and keep it down, but it was just that fraction too high for him. Poor free kick from Harry Kane, straight into the wall, does really well actually to retrieve it, feeds Sessegnon out wide, whose delivery's getting better and better in this game. Finds Sanchez, but he's on the stretch and he can't guide it goalwards. Bit better from Tottenham.
And you're listening to Tottenham against Portsmouth in the FA Cup, live on Talksport with Carling, the UK's #1 lager, 18 plus. Please drink responsibly. And a goal before half-time would just settle Tottenham down here. And they will believe that they will eventually overwhelm Pompey, but the longer this game goes on, at 0-0, Portsmouth will grow in confidence, and they've not lacked that so far.
Got to keep asking questions of Portsmouth physically, and I think you do that by moving the ball, by stretching the team, by stretching the opposition, by switching the ball quickly.
Cut out by Morel again on the edge of the penalty area. Hackett-Fairchild will find Bishop wide to this near side, and Morel works it neatly with Tunnicliffe, but then Morel has given the ball away to Skip. Son into the path of Kane with his back to goal in a central area, wide towards Emerson Royal. He hits it left-footed, appeals for handball as it thudded into Ragged on the edge of the penalty area, but Tottenham win it back. Here is Davis again now, wide towards Sessegnon. 2 Tottenham players in front of him. Son back towards Sessegnon again, just stumbles, then delivers the cross into the area, headed away at the near post by Morrison, who then waves the entire Pompey backline out as Sarr works it wide to the far side, and Tanganga. Now Hill. 3 minutes to play in the first half on Talksport. 0-0 in the FA Cup third round at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Scoop wide by Son towards Emerson Royal once again. Hill then ducks out of it as Morel hoofs it clear, but Tottenham do win it back, and Pompey do seem to be playing for half-time here at the moment. Very, very deep. 2 banks of 4 on the edge of their own penalty area. 2 banks of 5, really. Here is Son. And as a result, Tottenham will have to try and play their way round them. Sanchez, wide to the left-hand side, and Sessegnon. Skip joining in. Sanchez again, back towards Pape Sarr, who strikes it from 35 yards, a low, scudding effort, right-footed, some way wide.
The pressure's grown from Tottenham. They're having more of the ball. They're forcing Portsmouth back, but Portsmouth are really organised. Deep, defensive, disciplined. And they're saying to Tottenham, do you know what? You can shoot from 30 yards. Moments ago, Emerson Royale tried his luck from that sort of distance. Now Sarr's done similar. They won't mind that, Portsmouth, if Spurs are going to shoot from 30 yards out every time.
And you can see on the monitor that Harry Redknapp and Kevin Bond are here watching today. Management teams at both Tottenham and Portsmouth down the years. And of course, they were in charge at Portsmouth when they won the FA Cup back in 2008, when they beat Cardiff in the final thanks to Carnew's goal. Pompey also victorious under the Twin Towers back in 1939. Of course, Tottenham have 8 FA Cups, but none since 1991. They always seem to win it when the year ended in 1, apart from 1971 when Arsenal won the double, of course. But only 2 League Cups since that success 32 years ago. And that's a recurring theme for anybody connected with Tottenham Hotspur Football Club as we approach the final minute of the first half here. 0-0 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And it's been very hard work for Tottenham so far, and Portsmouth deserve credit for that. Now Pape Sarr once again wide towards Skip, so it's a relatively young central midfield for Tottenham here, with Skip coming in for Basuma very close to kick-off time. Kane 35 yards out on the right foot, and there is space now for Tanganga. His early cross into the penalty area, glanced away by Morrison. It's picked up by Son inside the penalty area. Right foot curler from him. It was always set some way wide and never came back enough.
You can see what he's trying to do, and it's dangerous if you don't close him down quickly, and they don't. He's not had too much freedom today, Son, but when he gets this ball, they're backing off. Tunnicliffe backs off, and he's allowed to come inside, get his shot away, tries to bend it to that far corner, doesn't quite get enough bend on it.
I'm not sure we'll have too much added time here. Neither medical team have been on. Carl Boyson, the 4th official, is just coming out towards the edge of his technical area, and there will be a minimum of 1 more minute at the end of the first half here.
Well, mission accomplished, really, isn't it, for
Almost.
Simon Bassi and his team? Well, almost 60 seconds away from it. It's been a really good half. I thought they started well, started brightly, had 1 or 2 chances themselves, and as the half's grown on, they've got deeper and deeper. They're having to soak up pressure, but they're doing it in an organised fashion.
And of course, there'll be no extra time here today. If we are level at the end, it's off to Fratton Park. Sessegnon coming forward now down the left-hand side. Low ball in is blocked by Swanson. There may just be time for Son to take the corner.
That's been a good individual tussle, hasn't it? Sessegnon up against Swanson. The ex-Arsenal man has defended really, really well against Sessegnon. Stopped a number of balls into the box, made plenty of blocks.
Son with the corner in what should be the final action of the first half. High into the 6-yard area, fisted away by Griffiths, and the free kick has been given because Griffiths was fouled inside the 6-yard area, and that should be that for the first half.
And that is that.
Half-time whistle goes, and 9,000 Portsmouth fans rise to acclaim their team. As Matt Holland said, it's been a job well done so far. They have nullified the Tottenham threat. Very few opportunities for Tottenham. Portsmouth with, in many ways, the best clear-cut chance. The volley from Rico Hackett-Fairchild, which was palmed aside by Fraser Forster. And at the moment, this has been a hard watch for the Tottenham fans and hard work for the Spurs players. Half-time, Tottenham Hotspur 0, Portsmouth 0.
Nigel Adderley and Matt Holland, thank you very much indeed. Yeah, the players are heading off into their dressing rooms. The Pompey fans have been really loud during that first half, and certainly, why shouldn't they be? They are holding Premier League Tottenham Hotspur to a goalless scoreline going into half-time. Let's take a quick look at the half-time highlights then, shall we, with Carling.
FA Cup half-time highlights on Talksport with Carling, the UK's #1 lager. 18 plus, please drink responsibly.
Okay, Matt Holland, it's been a really, it's one of those games that, again, it just, for Tottenham Hotspur, is a bit like Groundhog Day, and you said it in your commentary, they are just not passing the ball quickly enough, but they're not even passing it with any real quality as well. Every ball seems to be too heavy, every touch seems to be not thought about. It's just they're lunging in and not really having a game plan.
No, it's been a difficult half for them. It's been a frustrating half for them. I thought they started slowly. I thought Portsmouth came out very quickly. I think the shape of the team perhaps surprised Tottenham a little bit. The fact that they played two up front, they got bodies around Colby Bishop, and they looked a threat themselves. As the half's worn on, Tottenham have had more of the ball. They've forced Portsmouth deeper and deeper. They've had more territory and more possession, but they've not had too many clear opportunities. Harry Kane's had very few touches. Portsmouth are playing very narrow, very deep and narrow and compact, and they're not allowing Tottenham to play easily through them. So Kane hasn't seen a lot of the ball. The players that have seen the majority of it are Sessegnon and Emerson Royale. Heel and Son to a degree as well when they've drifted into wide positions. But those two wing-backs are the ones that have seen the majority of it. Sessegnon perhaps more so down the left-hand side because Tunnicliffe's tucked in alongside Morel. He's got a little bit more space to break into. But then it's about the delivery into the box as well, and that's not been quite good enough. Swanson's done a good job actually marking in 1v1 and defending those situations pretty well. But Spurs aren't dragging Portsmouth out of position enough, and they're not moving the ball quickly enough, and they've got to do that better in the second half. I'm sure they will. I'm sure they've got enough quality in that final third to open up Portsmouth, and Portsmouth will get tired as well. If they keep having to do that defensive work and that defensive shift from side to side, they're going to tire, and they did look a little weary in that last 5-10 minutes because they hadn't seen a lot of the ball in that period. But Tottenham do have to do better in possession. Yeah,
well, that's it, because they've had the majority, the lion's share of possession, around 60-ish%. So, as you say, Portsmouth working really hard off the ball, and that could go against them. But they are looking lively, and they're looking hungry, and they're buoyed by their crowd, and they know that, they've come here with nothing to lose, and you sort of feel that they're the team in the ascendancy.
It's a nice distraction from them, away from the pressure of League One. I mean, League One's a tough division, and there's pressure on them to try and get promoted into the Championship, and they're struggling. They started brightly, they're now quite a way away from the playoff positions, but this is a nice distraction to come and play in the FA Cup, to come and play at a ground like this, to come and play against the opposition that they are doing. When they saw the team sheet and Kane and Son were on there, they'd have really relished that opportunity to come up against Tottenham's big guns, if you like, and they're giving a really good account of themselves. They've been very competitive. They've won a lot of 50-50s in the middle of the pitch. They've shown good energy. They've tried to get bodies forward when the opportunity arises. Colby Bishop has placed himself up against the centre backs and made a nuisance of himself. Owen Dale's been lively and flitted around that position and tried to get on the ball and dragged himself into wide areas. I think Tunnicliffe and Morel in midfield have been good in possession. They've been controlled in possession of the ball. Generally, it's been a really good first half from them. Plenty of work still to do, but I'm sure that Simon Bassey will be delighted with his team in that first period.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll be as delighted as he was when he first came out onto the pitch and gave a little shout out to the fans, won't he? Thank you very much, Matt Holland. That was all thanks to Carling. We're made by our mates. 18+. Please do drink responsibly.
FA Cup halftime highlights on Talksport with Carling, the UK's #1 lager. 18+. Please drink responsibly.
It is also half-time at Selhurst Park. Here's Sam Ellard.
And it's Crystal Palace 1, Southampton 1. A good game of football, Reshman. Odsonne Edouard scored the opener for Palace. He set away behind the Saints' defence after a pass from Wilfred Zaha and found the net with a low shot that Gavin Bazunu got a touch on but couldn't keep it out. The keeper really should have done better. The ball almost going through the goalkeeper's legs. Not long after that, Palace should have doubled their lead. Michael Olise's brilliant ball in from the left-hand side found Jordan Ayew, who somehow, with his sliding effort from just a couple of yards out, hit the bar. Cannot believe he didn't score. Southampton's equaliser came just 10 minutes before half-time, and of course it came from a James Ward-Prowse free kick. Not a traditional Ward-Prowse free kick though. It was from the left-hand side. He whipped in a cross. Good pace on the ball. It went over everyone and into the back of the net. Up until that point, Nathan Jones' side were really poor and struggling to create any chances. But at half-time, it's Crystal Palace 1, Southampton 1.
Sam Ellard, thank you very much, as always. And over on Talksport 2 right now, it is currently Gillingham 0, Portsmouth 0, going into half-time. In that one, you can, of course, catch the second half for that with Ian Danter and Scott Minto over on Talksport 2. Here, though, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, it is also goalless between Tottenham and Portsmouth. Pompey looking the livelier side in that opening 45 minutes, which means there's a huge second half coming up after this.
FA Cup live on Talksport with Carling, the UK's #1 lager. 18 plus, please drink responsibly.
Hi there. What's the purpose of your visit? Business or leisure?
Neither. I'm here for the obscene volumes of delicious flaky pastries I'm going to shove in my face.
With 7 nights all-inclusive holiday from just £379 per person, you'll find any excuse to fly. The British Airways original sale is now on. Book your excuse at ba.com/sale. Sale ends 31st of January. Price based on 2 sharing. Limited availability. Terms and conditions apply. ATOL protected.
Oh, you can't beat January.
What? Getting up in the dark and then going home in the dark?
No, silly, because the Argos Winter Sale is here. With thousands of amazing offers from stylish furniture to fantastic fitness equipment and loads more. So what are you waiting for? Argos Sale ends 24th of January. Selected lines, conditions apply. Subject to availability.
Oh no, now what do I do?
Go left, indicators on. Go left, at the next junction. Go left, find an emergency zone. Go left, don't forget your phone. Go left, out the passenger door.
If your car breaks down on the motorway, remember one thing: go left. Search Go Left, National Highways.
Saving for a big life event? Or just a rainy day? Vanguard's Great Value Stocks and Shares ISA has low fees, so you can keep more of your returns. It's one reason why Vanguard has been recommended by Which for 4 years in a row. Join the 30 million investors around the world who value getting Vanguard value. Vanguard. Value to investors. Capital at risk. Tax rules may change. Eligibility rules apply.
Radio.
Talksport Breakfast.
Weekday mornings from 6.
On Talksport.
Brutally brilliant breakfast featuring Laura Woods.
He's all right to comment on your Instagram, but he's not all right to turn up for work.
Ali McCoy.
Well, you've thrown me off my lane, you man.
And Alan Brazil.
Sorry, but I am the voice of the people.
Get a stadium-sized portion every day. Come on, guys.
Let's pull it together.
Talksport Breakfast.
Weekday mornings from 6.
On Talksport.
You're listening to FA Cup Game Day on Talksport. I'm Rashmin Chowdhury and we are live at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium where it is Spurs 0, Portsmouth 0. Elsewhere in the FA Cup third round, it is half-time in the other 12:30 kickoffs. This is how it's looking at the moment. It's Gillingham 0, Leicester City 0. That game is, of course, over on Talksport 2 right now. Crystal Palace 1, Southampton 1, Reading 1, Watford 0. It's goalless between Preston and Huddersfield, and of course Forest Green against Birmingham City was postponed earlier due to a waterlogged pitch. So we all love the third round of the FA Cup, don't we? Such a great day in the footballing calendar. There's another 10 third round matches coming up for you at 3 o'clock, and keeping us up to date with all of those matches and with the fastest goal service on the radio is my good friend Adrian Durham, who is at Meadow Park for Borehamwood against Accrington Stanley. What nice, Adrian.
Who are they?
Who are they?
It's dank and dark here, but
is it?
It's a classic FA Cup tie. It's one of those you've got to get through to get a big boy in the next round. So Borehamwood, they did all this last year, got to the 5th round last year, beat Wimbledon and Bournemouth on the way to losing at Everton. They've lasted longer than Everton this time around. But it's a classic one because they went to Bristol Rovers, who were kind of in form, doing okay in League One, and beat them 2-0.
Under Joey Barton, of course.
Yeah, exactly, in round 2. But Accrington are not going well. 5th bottom, only scored 7 in 12 away in League One, and they've lost the last 2 away games, 2-0 and 4-0. So Borehamwood will fancy their chances, even though in the National League they're not exactly flying the mid-table.
Yeah, they're not, are they? Just one win in their last 10 in the National League. But they are at Meadow Park. And, you know, it's a small, intimate ground. Of course, you know, I've watched a lot of women's football there as well. There is, you know, it's an interesting little place, isn't it? Quite a small ground, but bouncing when it's on fire.
Yeah, absolutely. Boreham Wood are not the biggest team to play at this stadium, I think it's fair to say. But no, they will create the atmosphere today. Accrington never bring many away. I doubt they'll bring many away today as well, because it's a long journey, especially with the trains, etc. So Boreham Wood don't have many fans, and let's put it that way. But when the FA Cup comes around, some of them do come out the woodwork, so there should be a good atmosphere here today. And it's not the only tie as well. I think there's some that are ripe for an upset. Depends what side Forest pick up Blackpool, but Blackpool not going on in the Championship. Would it even be an upset if Burnley win at Bournemouth? I'm not sure it would.
Well, indeed.
I love the look of National League Chesterfield against West Brom. Corberan's done brilliant at West Brom, but again, you've got to look at the side he's going to put out there. But there's some cracking ties. Hull are in form, not been beaten since the World Cup resumption. They're at home to Fulham, who are in great form as well. Marco Silva going back to his old club. So some really good ties. And Brighton, who lost in the League Cup to Charlton on penalties, go to Middlesbrough. Michael Carrick is ripping up trees at Middlesbrough, won 7 of his 10 in charge.
He has, hasn't he? He's one of those he was always earmarked as being someone who would be very good in management, and then he's gone there and he's been able to put his own stamp on it after, you know, of course, that short time at Manchester United. That'd be really interesting to see. I always feel sort of a team like Borough should be doing well in a competition like the FA Cup. That's sort of where those teams, former you know, glory sides, really do kind of stand up and be counted as well. And of course, we've got some evening games as well in the FA Cup, another all Premier League affair. Liverpool taking on Wolves as well later on. Sheffield Wednesday against Newcastle United. I think that one's quite a fascinating one as well, because Newcastle is really tasty, isn't it? Because Newcastle, of course, I mean, they're flying in the Premier League. I mean, no one can deny that. But Sheffield Wednesday, again, as I say, one of those clubs with previous glory and not going so well at the moment, but they'll be quite enjoying this particular tie against Newcastle.
And again, this time last year, Newcastle under Eddie Howe were in the third round of the FA Cup. Drew League One Cambridge at home. Everybody thought it would be a formality. They lost 1-0. It was almost like the game, the result that drew the line under the previous era, if you like, and suddenly results in 2022 started turning Newcastle's favour. But that was a humiliation 12 months ago. Eddie Howe won't be wanting that again. And if he doesn't know by now, I'll be amazed. He must know that Newcastle fans want to win a trophy. I think we all know that, don't we?
Yeah, I think they're getting to that level, aren't they? They've occupied one of those spaces in the top 4, which is really sort of much to the chagrin of all the other teams who are fighting to be in it. So they're really pushing their way in there. Brentford against West Ham is an interesting one as well for West Ham. I mean, it's not been a happy place, or too happy in recent games, of course, and lots of people talking about, you know, is David Moyes' job even on the line? Brentford, you know, they will want to do well in the Cups as well, won't they?
Well, absolutely, and I think with West Ham fans, they do have a history with the FA Cup, so they will want that. It's a tricky one with West Ham United. I don't think he can afford to get relegated. I was listening to Sports Bar last night. It was saying, would you take FA Cup win and relegation if you're a West Ham fan? Well, I think they'd rather take FA Cup win and staying up. So but the FA Cup win lasts forever. It's like Pompey. I heard before the show you were talking about how Pompey won the FA Cup and Nigel Adderley threw in that they kind of went bust. Do you know what? Nobody can ever take away the fact they won the FA Cup. It's in history. The fans loved it, and the club still exists. So I don't think they'd change anything.
No, you wouldn't, would you? I think a Cup is what gives you those memories, and the FA Cup is certainly one of those competitions that does that, with fans travelling from far and wide. Just got to quickly say, before the teams head out here, Adrian, I'm currently looking up at that Tottenham Hotspur Stadium skywalk. Didn't we make some kind of, I would say, gentleman's agreement, but you know what I mean? Well, no, one of those.
I think we made an agreement to do it together because we're both petrified of heights, but we also made an agreement never to talk about it on air again so nobody remembers.
Oh, did we make that agreement? So you've just broken that. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks.
Change the subject.
Silly me. Yeah, silly me. Right, Adrian, that's it now. We don't need to talk anymore. Good to talk to you as always, Adrian. We'll be hearing from Adrian Durham later on with the fastest goal service on the radio, of course, here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, though. Spurs are the first team to emerge from the dugout. They're currently on the pitch. Pompey are taking their place on their pitch right now as well. They had a good showing in that first half. What is going to happen in the second half? What a game we've had here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Let's hand you back to our commentary team here, Matt Holland, but first, Nigel Adderley.
Thank you, Reshman. And there don't look to be any changes at half-time. So here are the two teams again. The Tottenham side is Forster in goal, Tanganga, Sanchez and Davis the back three. It is Royale, Skip, Sarr and Sessegnon in midfield, Hill, Son and Kane in attack. Portsmouth, Griffiths in goal, Swanson, Morrison, Raggett, Ogilvie and Hume across the back. It is Morrell, Tunnicliffe and Hackett-Fairchild in midfield, Dale and Bishop in attack. Tottenham in their white shirts, blue shorts and white socks, attacking the West Stand away to our right-hand side. Portsmouth in their blue shirts with pale blue sleeves, white shorts and red socks, kicking towards their 9,000 fans who have enjoyed their afternoon so far after a very early start. There's Tunnicliffe, Rob Sessegnon on the far side, looks to bring it forward. He was caught on the far side, so it will be at least a throw-in, possibly a free kick for Portsmouth midway inside their own half. Matt Holland is alongside me. What do you think Simon Bassey would have been saying at half-time?
Same again, please, because I thought that first half they were absolutely perfect in terms of the way they set up. They carried a threat going forward. They were compact and organised defensively. Gave up the wide areas, but Tottenham weren't great in those positions, and their delivery wasn't great from the wing-back positions. But generally, I think that first half went as well as he could have expected. They kept Harry Kane so quiet as well, you know, who gave a second-half masterclass against Crystal Palace. Antonio Conte, his star striker, can do the same again today.
Hill just stumbles away from the challenge of Hackett-Fairchild on the edge of the penalty area. Now continues. It's fired in by Sessegnon, blocked by Swanson, who has arguably been Pompey's man of the match so far, and he hammers the ball into the stand on the far side for a throw into Tottenham. But Spurs, who have been the Premier League's second half team so far this season, looking to come on strong once again.
Well, I'm sure that's the message at half-time. Up the tempo, because it was too slow at times. A little laboured, wasn't it, from Spurs?
Now Morrell finding Dale, and Dale has been quickly closed down by Sanchez, and it will be a Portsmouth throw-in 2 minutes into the second half.
One thing that's been noticeable in the first 2 minutes of this second half is that Sarr has tended to get forward a little bit more than Skip at the start of this second half. In the first half, it was Skip that made those runs from deep. Second half, well, up to this point anyway, Sarr's made a couple of good runs into the box.
Free kick for Portsmouth on the far side. Colby Bishop doing well to wriggle away from the challenge of Ben Davies, who then brought him down. And it will be a free kick, and this an opportunity for Portsmouth to load the penalty area.
Certainly is. Raggett, Morrison, both on their way forward, both a threat from this type of position.
And Tunnicliffe was over the free kick, but it may be left to Hackett-Fairchild. Both Simon Bassey and Antonio Conte with a vast disparity in their managerial experience on the edge of their own technical areas here, but it's Portsmouth who have the opportunity to provide some quality into the Tottenham penalty area. 3 minutes into the second half on Talksport. Hackett-Fairchild with the free kick, and it's in towards Ogilvie, headed behind, and it will be a goal kick.
That's a dangerous ball in, actually. And Ogilvie just got too much on it, because he got there first, got ahead of his man. I think it was Ben Davies that was closest to him, but he won the header, but just got too much on his effort. Decent ball in, though.
Conor Ogilvie, who came through the academy at Tottenham, scored the final goal under the Cowleys in the 3-1 loss against Charlton last weekend. And the Cowleys were gone within 24 hours. Now Son with the cross into the penalty area. Good lead by Emerson Royale. It hits the inside of the post and somehow stays out. Emerson Royale could not have done any more there, and he must have thought the net was about to ripple, but Pompey escaped.
Well, Son has been kept largely quiet, but he's full of talent, full of quality. Give him half a yard and he can produce, and he does it superbly. I mean, Swanson's really tight to him, but he still manages to dig his cross out to the far post. And Emerson Royale meets it, coming in from that right wing-back position. It's a really good header, back across goal, but back off the post and into the arms of Josh Griffiths.
And now Emerson Royale has been fouled by Hackett-Fairchild, and it will be a free kick for Tottenham, who have gone closer in the opening moments of the second half than they did in the entirety of the first. Son back towards Davis again. That's a warning for Portsmouth. And we have seen a number of good balls in from Son down the left-hand side, and that one finally found a target. A reminder, over on Talksport 2, still goalless between Gillingham and Leicester with Ian Danter and Scott Minto. Mark Wilson and Chris Iwelumo will bring you Blackpool against Nottingham Forest at 3 o'clock. We're around the ground with Adrian Durham here on Talksport in Game Day Live with all the goals as they go in. Kane on the edge of the penalty area, fires in a brilliant goal, and Harry Kane finally breaks the deadlock, and he's now just one behind Jimmy Greaves, and a match which was screaming out for some quality now has it from Tottenham's main man. Tottenham 1, Portsmouth 0.
Harry Kane is an absolute genius. He's hardly had a kick, he's hardly had a sniff. Portsmouth have defended him absolutely superbly. He's generally stayed high up the pitch today, hasn't come deep at all. On this occasion he does. He faces up the Portsmouth defence, he sees the little 1-2, his next touch is absolutely perfect. Out of his feet, far enough that he can get his shot away. And from just on the edge of the box, he bends it into that far corner, past Josh Griffiths with pace. Absolute perfection from Harry Kane.
And his FA Cup goal-scoring record is remarkable as well. That's 15 FA Cup goals in just 20 games. Not all of those have been starts. And he now moves on to 265 Tottenham goals. Jimmy Greaves now just one ahead of him. 6 minutes into the second half, and that goal's been coming ever since Thomas Bramall blew the whistle to start the second period. Portsmouth looking to respond here with a Conor Ogilvie long throw midway inside the Tottenham half, but in the end he goes short to Hume, high towards the far post. Sessegnon will rise to head away, and a good leap by Sarr to just ensure that Dale wouldn't pick up the loose ball. But now Tunnicliffe has it for Portsmouth down there right. He's closed down by Sarr, and it will be another throw-in. Into Bishop. Bishop lays it wide towards Swanson. Low ball driven in. Sanchez clears away at the near post. It's gathered by Son on the edge of the penalty area. And Harry Kane delivering for Tottenham 6 minutes into the second half on Talksport.
How many times have you delivered that line? Harry Kane delivering for Tottenham. He always does. Honestly, 300 Premier League appearances, 198 Premier League goals. Now just one short of Jimmy Greaves' all-time Tottenham Hotspur record.
Here is Son inside the penalty area, just off balance as he hits it right-footed. And it loops high over the crossbar for a goal kick. He's having another career season. If it wasn't for Erling Haaland, we'd be saying what a season Harry Kane is having.
Unbelievable. 17 goals already this season, 15 of them in the Premier League. He is just at the top of his game right now. Every time he walks onto the pitch, you expect him to score. I mean, that was a half chance at best. When he picked the ball up, he's 30 yards out and he's faced with the entire Portsmouth team. 1-2 later, he bends it into that far corner absolutely superbly.
And if you are Simon Bassi now, what do? Just try and stay in the game?
Well, stay in the game for now, because the way Tottenham have started this second half, you feel as though another goal's coming. They've already hit the post before the goal, and here they come again.
Good challenge, though, by Morrison to halt the progress of Sarr. And there was an overlap there with Sessegnon beyond Morrison, so it was an important challenge. 53 minutes played here on Talksport. Tottenham 1, Portsmouth 0 in the FA Cup third round. Still goalless between the bottom club in the Football League, Gillingham, and Leicester. Over on Talksport 2, Reading leading Watford by a goal to nil, scoring very close to half-time. 0-0, Preston against Huddersfield. And the game between Forest Green and Birmingham was called off as Sarr wins it back from Morel on the edge of the Portsmouth penalty area, wide on the Tottenham left-hand side. Now Kane again. Back towards Davis. And Portsmouth simply can't get out at the moment. That's a problem for them. Kane with a high ball in, looking for Hill. Left-hand side. Kane will offer support again. Skip. And Royale waiting inside the penalty area, but the low ball in from Kane is blocked. But Tottenham win it straight back. Here is Son again, looking to pick his way through the bodies. But Morel comes away with the ball, and Morrison will scoop it high up towards the halfway line.
Well, it's Sessegnon that made the challenge on Son.
Now Kane plays it forward, and Son will pick out the run of Sessegnon, who made his move just too soon. He was offside, and the shot was wide anyway.
He was actually coming from an offside position, and so the flag went up. I've just been sent a stat. How about this? Harry Kane scored his 265th goal for Tottenham on exactly the same day that Jimmy Greaves got his 265th back in 1970. Some symmetry.
Although Jimmy Greaves did take slightly fewer games to score his goals, he got 266 in 369 games, and Kane has currently got 265, and this is his 412th game. But he was often used as a replacement late in games early on in his Tottenham career, whereas Jimmy Greaves was a starter all the way. So in terms of minute per goal, it may not be that different. Now Sessegnon comes forward on the far side. What we are talking about is two iconic strikers, whatever happens. Now Son again, wide on the left, and he just runs into Swanson. Swanson will clear a block tackle from Son, and it's gone behind for a goal kick. And Jimmy Greaves was on the score sheet when these two sides met in the fourth round back in 1967. Tottenham won by 3-1. Alan Gilzean scored a couple, and that season Tottenham also went on to win the FA Cup.
Yeah, brilliant stats. Look, this is the first 10 minutes to the second half that Antonio Conte would have demanded at half-time. This is exactly the start to the second half that he would have wanted. His team were laboured in that first period, but they've come out firing at the start of the second. I bet he wishes he could get his team to start like this.
Here is Dale coming forward now for Portsmouth into the penalty area. Just crowded out, though. And it's cleared away by Tottenham. And Hill will gather the ball in space now, tries to turn and find Skip quickly forward to Son. Good challenge though by Morrison. Hackett Fairchild now gathers for Portsmouth, slips it forward looking for Dale, and Dale just throws his head back in anger because he was on the shoulder of Davinson Sanchez and just needed more precision.
Just lacked a bit of pace as well, didn't he? Never really fancied him to get on the end of that ball in behind.
Davis coming forward now for Tottenham. Wide to the far side, and Sessegnon. Sarra's further ahead of him. 56 minutes played here on Talksport. Spurs leading by 1-0 thanks to Harry Kane. Still 1-1 between Palace and Southampton at Selhurst Park. Tanganga for Tottenham on this near side. Heel hugging the touchline. Now he comes in, Phil, from the right to find Emerson Royal, who's already hit the inside of the post in the second half. He makes his way towards the edge of the penalty area, but he's closed down by Morel. Tanganga once again. And although it's a strong Tottenham team, there are young players involved here today. Players like Hill. Sarra's only 20. Tanganga 23. He's had injury problems over the last 12 months or so. And it's behind for a goal kick to Portsmouth.
Just having a look down at the touchline, Antonio Conte far more demanding, far more animated at the start of the second half as well. It's perhaps a good thing that Danny Cowley's not here today as well, because he's probably one of the more animated managers on the touchline as well. They might have had a bit of fun on the touchline.
That would have been quite interesting to see, and I'm sure that Danny Cowley will be back in football before too long. Good man and a good manager. Now Morel over the top, looking for Dale. He may just have been offside, but the ball never found him anyway. The flag is indeed raised belatedly, and it will be a free kick to Tottenham, although Emerson Royal is saying, look, I've got the ball.
Yeah, he was offside though, wasn't he? Tottenham can trust themselves defensively with their pace. Tanganga, Davinson Sanchez, both very quick, and Dale looks a little laboured when he's making that run over the top, so he's having to go a little fraction sooner than he would want to.
Well, Tottenham have not lost in the third round since a defeat against Arsenal back in 2014, and at the moment that run looks set to continue. 58 minutes played. Hill into Skip, neat and tidy, wide to this near side, and Royal, a no look pass to find Kane, but his cross into the near post is blocked by Raggett, who brings it down on his chest and then clears. But now Royal has it once again on this near side. Kane, right corner of the penalty area, finding Skip. Son, now Kane is further forward than him, but Son's curler is blocked. It spins out towards Emerson Royal. The cross in is low, appeals for handball from both sets of players as it rears up and strikes Sessegnon and Swanson. And Portsmouth will clear, and now Dale's done well to rob Tanganga. Bishop hooks it forward, looking for Dale to make the run, but Davinson Sanchez covers the danger.
Hard going for Portsmouth, this. Can't get out at all, can they? Every time the ball goes forward, it keeps coming back. This is relentless pressure from Tottenham.
An hour played. They lead by 1-0, looking to finish this game off very quickly now on Talksport. Still goalless between Gillingham and Leicester over on Talksport 2, so there could be a story developing there. And Leicester have just taken the lead in that game. Kelechi Iheanacho, who has an excellent goal-scoring record in the FA Cup with the opening goal there. Son now going down under the challenge of Denver Hume, and Son is sprawled out off the pitch, but the referee waves away and he appeals for a free kick.
Wry smile from Son. I think he just ran out of room, didn't he? Realised that the ball was going over the byline, he wasn't going to get there, and went to ground far too easily. The referee didn't buy it.
How can you see a wry smile under that mask?
You can see the smile.
Yes.
You can see his mouth. It's in his eyes, isn't it? They're covered.
Yeah, I think he knew that he wasn't going to get much there. Griffiths clears downfield for Portsmouth. Maybe they're just thinking if they can hold on to this scoreline with maybe 10 minutes to go and then give it a go. But at the moment, Tottenham are pouring forward again. Hill up towards the edge of the penalty. Harry Morrell with a dicey challenge. If he caught Hill, it could have been a penalty. Royale with a cross in is too deep, but it will be recovered by Sarr. Davis makes the run on the outside. Now Kane, 25 yards out. Square towards Tanganga, who fires in the shot, blocked by Ogilvie, and then Bishop dives in and he rather jumps into Tanganga. It will be a free kick for Tottenham, and it's another free kick in a central area about 30 yards out.
This is relentless from Tottenham. Exactly what Antonio Conte would have wanted. Portsmouth at the moment are struggling to contain this Tottenham side.
And the referee is just having words with both sets of players here. Joe Morrell has been called towards him, and Joe Raggett, the captain, is just heading forward looking for clarification. I'm not sure if Morrell stopped a quick free kick there.
Kane's lost responsibility for set pieces after that poor effort in the first half. It looks like Son's over this one.
Son this time, or Tanganga could be shaping up.
Son or Tanganga? Go on.
Yeah, well, Tanganga's got the Kirtley Ambrose fast bowler's run up here, but I'm not sure that he would be my choice. Son, in fairness, has scored a few goals in the Cups this season. 4 in the league, although 3 of those came in one game here against Leicester. And it's Son who will take the free kick, curls it right-footed, and it's over the top. Should have gone for Tanganga.
Not brilliant, better than Kane's effort. At least it got over the wall. Not too much on it, didn't get it down in time to get under the bar of Josh Griffiths' goal.
62 minutes played here. Tottenham 1, Portsmouth 0 on Talksport. Gillingham 0, Leicester 1 over on Talksport 2. Coming up later on, all the goals as they go in with Adrian Durham live from Meadow Park, where Boreham Wood play Accrington in the FA Cup today. One of the non-league teams looking to cause an upset, although Boreham Wood created a few of those last season. Ogilvie with a poor header away into the path of Harry Kane, who was caught by Morrell, but Kane lays it forward into the path of Son, but it was behind him in the end, and Swanson will clear. Bishop does well to win the header on the halfway line, but when Bishop wins the ball now, it's very rare that there's a Portsmouth player anywhere near him, and that's the problem they've got. As Hackett Fairchild plays it back towards Raggett, all the way back to Griffiths, who clears downfield. Blackpool against Forest will be live on Talksport 2 with Mark Wilson and Chris Iwelumo at 3 o'clock. Then Alex Crook and David Connolly will bring you Brentford against West Ham on 2 at 5:30. Jamie O'Hara will be anchoring the phone in here on Talksport before Faye Carruthers takes over ahead of Liverpool against Wolves at 8 o'clock with Adam Bridge and Mickey Gray. Tomorrow, Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce will be at the Cardiff City Stadium. Cardiff against Leeds at 2 o'clock. I'll be alongside Adrian and Dean Ashton at the Etihad for Manchester City against Chelsea at 4:30. And Oxford against Arsenal completes the FA Cup third round on Monday night, and that's live for you on Talksport. Swanson does well to Rob Sessegnon on the far side, plays it infield for Portsmouth to Hackett Fairchild, laid back to Tunnicliffe, who tries to drive forward, but Portsmouth at the moment just struggling to get bodies forward because they've been so deep, but Morel does well to just hold on to it and find Swanson down the line, inviting the run from Tunnicliffe, but that's not really his game. And Davis will clear, but it's straight back to Morrison. Now Morel again. Wide towards the far side, and Portsmouth have been neat and tidy at times in possession, but they're just lacking that threat going forward. Hume on the left-hand side. Oh, he takes his eye off the ball at the crucial moment, rolls under its boot, straight out of play.
That was their best spell of the second half. For a period of time they were keeping the ball, and they need to do that because they've come under relentless pressure at the start of this second half. They haven't been able to get on the ball at all, not been able to get support, as you quite rightly say, to Colby Bishop. Been really impressed with Zach Swanson, the right wing back for Portsmouth today. Defended superbly in 1v1 situations, got himself forward when he can. His delivery with the ball has been good, and he's played another ball over the top to Dale now.
Dale going down under the challenge of Davis, but I think he was looking for it, having lost possession. And I think the referee, Tom Bramwell's had a good game. And again, he allows play to continue, and Tottenham bring it forward on this near side. Kane plays the 1-2 with Emerson Royale. And then one of those typical Harry Kane balls, expansive from right to left, and Swanson knew that Sessegnon was somewhere in the vicinity, and in the end just has to stoop and head it behind for a corner.
Well, it's as good as he could have hoped, or to be honest, he was on the stretch. He had to try and intercept that ball from Harry Kane out wide, who's made such a difference at the start of this second half. Obviously it's his goal that separates the two teams, but his general play as well, the way he's just dictating the game right now, Harry Kane, I think he's been absolutely terrific.
Corner's played short on the far side, back towards Sessegnon. Left-footed shot from him is blocked by Ogilvie, and Pompey will chase the loose ball up to the halfway line. Hill with the back pass. Dale tries to cause problems for Forster, but he has the opportunity to play it long downfield. There's been a flurry of goals at Deepdale. Florian Camberi briefly giving Huddersfield the lead, but Tom Lees with an own goal has made it 1-1 there. Preston against Huddersfield. Still Reading 1, Watford 0. Gillingham 0, Leicester 1 over on Talksport 2. And the match between Forest Green and Birmingham was postponed, and it's also Palace 1, Southampton 1 at Selhurst Park. Could be one or two replays coming up on the evidence of what we've seen so far, but
doesn't feel like there'll be one here, does it? At the moment. Not the pattern of the game. Spurs have really upped the intensity. They're playing with more purpose, and Portsmouth are hanging on.
Now Kane on the turn again. Threads it forward to Hill inside the penalty area, and Skip 7 yards out, clear side of goal, and he hammers it too high, and that should have sealed it.
And once again it's Harry Kane. He's the architect, coming deep, plays the ball through to Hill. It somewhat fortunately finds its way to Skip inside the box, but he's rewarded because of his run into the area. He's done that plenty of occasions today from deep, got himself forward. He's the furthest forward for Tottenham. He's only 10 yards out, swipes at the ball, tries to hit it too hard. He's only got the goalkeeper to beat, and he blazes it 5 yards over the bar. Really poor miss from Tottenham's midfielder.
Well, he's not known for his goals, and maybe that's something he'll look to add to his game, but he should have scored there. The rain now absolutely teeming down here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. 22 minutes to play. Tottenham 1, Portsmouth 0. And the Pompey fans still making plenty of noise away to our left-hand side. Harry Kane's goal dividing the two sides. Tanganga on the left. Back again towards Davinson Sanchez. And Davis finding Sessegnon, and Tottenham here. No, they've got Portsmouth where they want them, but now it's been given away. Morel finding the central defender, Morrison on the far side. He's forced back to Swanson. Griffiths will play it forward. And there's been another goal in the match between Crystal Palace and Southampton. It was 1-1. Here's Sam Ellard.
And it's Crystal Palace 1, Southampton 2. Vicente Guaita will not want to see this again. He had the ball at his feet, but he took way too much time on the ball. As he went to clear it, he was closed down by Adam Armstrong, who got the ball off the goalkeeper, and all he had to do was slot the ball into an empty net. Keeper's had an absolute nightmare. It's Crystal Palace 1, Southampton 2.
And that could be the break that Nathan Jones has been looking for as Southampton manager, as Hackett Fairchild does well to rob Brian Hill, and Pompey here have 4 players moving forward. Swanson works the one to Tunnicliffe into the penalty area, back to Dale with the shot, and it's blocked by Sanchez, and that's Pompey's best moment in the second half by some distance.
And just listen to the Portsmouth fans. That's the first thing they've had to shout about in this second half. Excellent play from Hackett Fairchild initially to win the ball back, and it's Swanson getting forward. He lays the ball off to Dale. Good block by Davinson Sanchez on the edge of the box. Better from Portsmouth though. They need to retain possession. They need to keep the ball better than they have done up to this point in the second half.
Thrown down the line for Pompey on the far side, but it's headed away by Sessegnon. Swanson returns it, looking for Bishop, who again wins the header. Volley clear by Pape Sarr, and Raggett will go all the way back towards Josh Griffiths. And you're listening to Spurs against Portsmouth in the FA Cup, live on Talksport with Carling, the UK's #1 lager, 18 plus. Please drink responsibly. 20 minutes to play here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in driving rain. Classic FA Cup weather, but at the moment, not a classic FA Cup story, with Tottenham leading Portsmouth by a goal to 0 thanks to Harry Kane early in the second half. But while it's only 1-0, the game is still alive for the League One team. But Sarr has won it back on the far side from Tunnicliffe, into Kane, the back heel to find Son on the edge of the penalty area. Right foot shot from him is closed down by Morel, and it's ricocheted forward all the way up towards the halfway line, but Tottenham have it back again with Sessegnon. Decent looking ball into the penalty area, volley clear at the far post by Hume. Kane will recover possession, and I'm sure that Antonio Conte would have been looking to maybe not have players like Harry Kane out on the field for 90 minutes, but he may have to.
Well, he'd been hoping that Oliver Skipp had scored that opportunity he had about 5 minutes ago. If it goes to 2-0, he can rest Harry Kane, take him off and give him a breather.
Kane again, but it's quickly closed down by Dale, who will try and chase up to the halfway line, and Harry Kane just steps across Dale there to partially block his run. You could argue it was gamesmanship, possibly a foul. Harry Kane knew what he was doing, but of course the game carries on.
Yeah, it was clever defending actually from Harry Kane, and there was no way that Dale was getting there ahead of Davinson Sanchez anyway.
No. And we also welcome our listeners in the USA and Canada on our partner station Sirius XMFC. The FA Cup on the Talksport network. And we have so much to look forward to this weekend at the start of what is a very busy week. We have all 4 Carabao Cup quarter-finals coming up, as well, as the ball just squirts away from Sessegnon inside the penalty area. And big Premier League games at the end of the week. Thursday night, Fulham against Chelsea. What a West London derby that's now become. And then on Friday night, Aston Villa against Leeds. And then on Saturday, United against City, the Manchester derby. Big game coming up for Tottenham in the Premier League next weekend as well, when they're at home to Arsenal.
Yeah, their next 2 fixtures, home to Arsenal, away to Man City. A couple of tough games for them ahead.
Well, they were in the top 4 until that loss here against Aston Villa. But the win against Palace has closed things up. They're currently 2 points behind both Manchester United and Newcastle. So it is going to be a real scrap to see who finishes in the top 4 this season. Kane lays it wide to this near side, and Hill, Skipper's the furthest player forward at the moment, now joined by Son. Hill's shot, I think, was blocked by Skipp, but it spins into the path of Emerson Royale. The cross into the penalty area deflected, headed clear by Morrison. 17 minutes to play on Talksport, 1-0 to Tottenham. Royale again. Tottenham just making do in this game, really. They've been the better team since half-time. They deserve to be ahead, but they can't put Pompey away at the moment.
No, I was going to say, they're in control. The game's in their hands. But it only takes one chance, doesn't it, for Portsmouth? One opportunity. Can they create that? Hasn't felt like it in this second period.
But it's the FA Cup. And we've seen on so many occasions, in so many games over the years, that it only takes a moment, and Portsmouth could have a day to remember here. But Tottenham here looking for the second goal. But Morel does well to just guide a header back towards Josh Griffiths once again. And he was in the Cheltenham goal a couple of years ago when they were ahead against Manchester City in the FA Cup before they eventually lost by 3 goals to 1. currently on loan from West Bromwich Albion. And he had no chance with the goal. And he's not had a huge amount to do apart from that. Again, Dale is offside, and it will be a free kick to Tottenham, midway inside their own half as the rain continues to fall. And Pompey are going to their bench. Josh Koroma, on loan from Huddersfield, is coming on, along with Louis Thompson, who is making his comeback from a broken leg suffered at the start of the season. And the players coming off, Rico Hackett-Fairchild and Ryan Tunnicliffe.
Yeah, fresh legs, fresh energy into the team. It's felt like it's needed that. Ryan Tunnicliffe is tired, visibly tired. He's got had to get through a lot of work. And Hackett-Fairchild's given the ball away too often in this second period as well. So understandable changes from Simon Bassett.
And Koroma will try and get close to Colby Bishop. But it's been a difficult job for Portsmouth in the second half because they've had so little of the ball. And as a result, they've been so deep, and when they have won it back, there's been no one upfield to try and capitalise. But that's the way it is. Hill with a low ball into the area, cut out by Morel. And now Koroma's first involvement almost finds Bishop on the halfway line, but Tottenham always seem to have a couple of extra shirts around them. Son into Kane on the edge of the penalty area, back towards Son again, and Swanson will swivel and clear for Portsmouth, and it will be a throw-in on the far side.
Pap Sarr's been busy for Tottenham today. I thought he's had a decent performance in the middle of the pitch. All played particularly well, but I think he's had a decent game in the middle of the park for Tottenham.
Judge Spence will be on shortly for Tottenham as well. Had a very good loan spell and a very good FA Cup run with Nottingham Forest last season. Scored against Leicester when they hammered them in that East Midlands derby, as Hill has been caught late there by Thompson on this near side. Thompson's first involvement will see him to be the first player booked.
Welcome to the game. He's not had a touch yet. Louis Thompson gone flying into a challenge. Brings Brian Hill down, who fortunately isn't hurt. He's back on his feet. But that was a robust challenge, to say the least.
And here is the Tottenham change. And Judge Spence, who we maybe thought would have started this game. Well, it's a straight swap. He will come on to replace Ryan Sessegnon as we go to Bloomfield Road for headline team news in our Talksport 2 commentary later on. Blackpool against Forest, and say good afternoon to Mark Wilson.
Yeah, good afternoon, Nigel. Two changes for the Blackpool side that drew is Sunderland. Connolly suspended, Medine drops out as Lyons and Beasley come in. Steve Cooper makes 11 changes from the win at Southampton. Headline news for them, a first start for Gustavo Scarpa from Palmeiras. We're live on Talksport 2 from 2:30 at Bloomfield Road for Blackpool against Nottingham Forest.
Good looking tie at the Riverside. Middlesbrough against Brighton there for us. Graham Courtney.
Yeah, should be a belter. Michael Carrick, a single change for the Boroughs lineup. That's from their 3-1 win at Birmingham on Monday. Lenihan and McNair swapping places in defence. As for Brighton, well, De Zerbi making 4 changes from Tuesday's win at Everton. Veltman, Sanchez, Duncan, Sarmiento are out. In comes Steele, Lamptey, Lallana and Van Heck. I think this could go to a replay. It's the Borough against Brighton at the Riverside.
And of course, there will be third round FA Cup replays this season, providing we have a draw somewhere. At the moment, we're not heading to a draw here. Tottenham leading by 1-0 with 12 minutes to play. Harry Kane just volleying into the side netting.
Yeah, it's amazing how much space he can find inside the box. I mean, generally, Portsmouth have done a good job of being quite tight to him. But he's 5 yards away from Conor Ogilvie when he picks up possession of that pass from Tanganga. It's a difficult angle and it comes at him quickly. Can't hit the target. But his movement is so good. He's not the quickest Harry Kane, is he? But he's still got 5 yards of space inside the penalty area.
Ogilvie with a throw-in now on this near side, as Portsmouth try to create the one chance which could earn them a lucrative replay here. It's brought forward on the far side by Morrison into Morel, and here is Thompson, a good ball wide towards Morel, down the right, needs a good cross in, it's blocked at the near post by Davis, and it will be a Pompey corner.
Not had a lot to cheer about, the Portsmouth fans, but you can hear them now right in front of the supporters. It's Josh Koroma who goes over to take the corner. Play up Pompey, ringing around the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
And the delivery here has to be right from Koroma. 11 minutes to play, Pompey a goal down. Koroma's corner into the near post, headed away by Skip. Hume heads it back towards the edge of the penalty area, and Tottenham will clear through Davis, and now they can break with Kane over the halfway line. Skip makes the run in behind, but Kane's ball ricochets off a couple of Portsmouth players, and it's eventually cleared on the far side.
He tried the more difficult ball. He saw Brian Heel on the right hand side, tried to play it with the outside of his foot, and actually Skip was in front of him, just needed to side foot it ahead of him, but he went for the more difficult pass there, Harry Kane.
And with games across the network today, it's a good day to download the Talksport app if you haven't already. And you can go to the live commentaries page and then swipe between which game you would prefer. Gillingham 0, Leicester 1, currently underway over on Talksport 2. As Tottenham now look to attack with Emerson Royale, who has moved over to the left-hand side, with Spence coming on the right.
Tottenham fans pleased to see him, aren't they, Jed Spence?
Well, I've hardly seen him.
No, exactly. I mean, I actually thought he should have started this game. He made 8 changes. I just felt that he deserves the opportunity to start a game for Spurs, but wasn't given that chance. But he is on now.
He's one of these players, Spence, and there have been quite a few at Tottenham in recent years who have done well in the Championship, signed for Tottenham and then almost disappeared without trace, although he's here today, of course. Son with a cross into the penalty area, all the way through to Hill at the far post. Left foot ball in from him is blocked by Ogilvie. High into the air, and it bounces on this near side and out for a corner.
Son again down that left-hand side, driving to the byline, whipping a dangerous ball into the area, found its way to Hill, who had space, came back on his left foot. I think it was a cross rather than a shot into the box, and Ogilvie blocks it.
Corner kick on this near side for Tottenham. 9 minutes to play on Talksport. 1-0 they lead. Son will take it. Leicester still a goal up at Gillingham over on Talksport 2. Son with the opportunity to provide the outswinger here. Every Tottenham player is forward apart from Spence into the 6-yard area, headed away by Raggett. Sarr with a miss kick wide to the far side, but Skip will recover it. And Tottenham still have so many white shirts forward here. And here is Hill coming infield onto the left foot, curls it wide to the far side, looking for Skip, sliced away by Swanson, and it will be a throw into Tottenham. Bambo Diaby has put Preston 2-1 up at home to Huddersfield. They've come from behind at Deepdale. Reading still lead Watford by a goal to 0. And it's still Palace 1, Southampton 2. And although it's the FA Cup, Nathan Jones just needs any sort of victory at the moment before Southampton have a huge game against Everton next weekend. Huge for both clubs. Now Tanganga, closed down by Koroma, and as a result the ball is lofted wide on the far side, straight out of play, and it will be a throw-in for Pompey. And there will be 2 changes very shortly. One of those will be Joe Pigott, on loan from Ipswich. Scored in the previous round, scored plenty of goals in the lower leagues with AFC Wimbledon as well. And Simon Bassey, as he has to really, is just throwing on attacking players in the closing stages to see what happens, because why not? But now Spence coming forward now for Tottenham. On this near side, into Kane, who could be the match winner yet again. Now Spence back towards Kane, Skip on the edge of the penalty area. But here is Tanganga. Every Pompey player is back behind the ball once again. Sanchez finding Davis, and you wonder why Tottenham have retained 3 central defenders when they're marking 1 and at times no players here. But that's the way that Antonio Conte likes to play.
In fairness, I mean, both Ben Davies and Tanganga have had a freedom to get forward as well and support going forward. Jed Spence now, Emerson Royal on the left-hand side. They back them up and they've been given that freedom to get up the pitch.
Here is Davinson Sanchez, wide towards Davis. And they've had oceans of room around them at every opportunity to play the ball forward. And it's blocked by Joe Morrell. Son tried to feed it forward to Harry Kane, and it will be a throw-in, and here are the changes. Morrell is being withdrawn to be replaced by Michael Jacobs, who was in the Wigan team which beat Manchester City famously back in 2018. And Joe Pigott will be the other player coming on, and he replaces the striker Colby Bishop.
Well, Simon Bass will just be hoping that Portsmouth can get the ball into forward areas, into the area of Joe Pigott, because they haven't done that often enough in this second period. The game's been played predominantly in their own half. Every time it's gone forward, they haven't been able to retain possession long enough to get the support up to the front players.
5 minutes to play. Tottenham 1, Portsmouth 0. Here on Talksport in the FA Cup third round. And Portsmouth have made the attacking changes they really have available to them, as it's been given away, and Dale with a rather rugged challenge midway inside the Portsmouth half, and he's caught Sarr, and it will be a free kick. Maybe too far up for Harry Kane to have a shot, but you never know.
It's a long way out, this one, 40 yards. Papsar doing well again, middle of the pitch, just caught as he's driving past his man in midfield. Dale on the stretch brings him down. Kane's walked away.
Son takes over wide on the left-hand side from the free kick in towards Emerson Royale, and Tottenham will go all the way back to the halfway line with 4 minutes to play, and all the way back to Fraser Forster. And you can hear the boos, and I think there are as many boos from Tottenham fans at that, as a long ball played forward by Forster, and it's one back on the halfway line by Jacobs, and Portsmouth will try and break now. Pigott lays it back towards Thompson, wide to the far side. It's kept in play by Swanson, and there is space now for Jacobs to loft it forward. Almost a break by Dale into the penalty area. Appeals for a corner kick, and it's been given as a goal kick by the assistant on the far side. The Pompey fans aren't too happy, but I think it's probably the correct decision.
Yeah, I thought the same as well. I thought Owen Dale just tried to play up to the crowd, just to try and say to the assistant that it should have been a corner.
Dale now makes way, and Ronan Curtis will come on to replace him, Republic of Ireland international.
He's a goal scorer, isn't he? Ronan Curtis, 6 this season. Only 1 in the league, but he knows where the back of the net is.
He's saved his goals for the cup competitions, and Pompey need one now with 3 minutes of normal time to play on Talksport, trailing by a goal to nil. And they've done a good job of staying in this game. And since the goal from Kane, there haven't been too many clear-cut chances.
No, they've generally done a really good job defensively. The shape of the side has been good, but they've just not been able to keep the ball long enough to cause Tottenham too many problems the other way.
Now Spence briefly robs Hume on this near side. Curtis back in field towards Raggett. Leicester still a goal up on Gillingham over on Talksport 2. A long ball played forward for Portsmouth, back towards Fraser Forster. And boos for the former Southampton goalkeeper from the Pompey fans, as you would expect.
Good defending from Jed Spence on the stretch. Guided the header back into the arms of Fraser Forster.
Skip challenged by Curtis, but he's done well to play it back to Sanchez. A high ball forward from him. Morrison rises above Son in the air. Jacobs will try and bring it forward, but Pape Sarr with a good challenge. Jacobs responds with a foul, and it will be a free kick to Tottenham midway inside their own half in the 89th minute. Still Palace 1, Southampton 2. Preston now lead Huddersfield by 3 goals to 1. Alan Brown has made it safe for the home side at Deepdale. Reading leading Watford by a goal to nil. Gillingham 0, Leicester 1. And we're live at Boreham Wood against Accrington Stanley coming up at 3 o'clock with Adrian Durham with Game Day Live. Blackpool against Forest is our commentary game over on Talksport 2. Now Kane lays it wide to the far side, and Emerson Royale on the left, and you would imagine he would come in field onto his right foot. Swanson shows him that route, but the cross in is blocked by Morrison. Karoma tries to find Jacobs, and Pompey will try and move it forward quickly now with Curtis, but the pass was just behind him, and it's recovered by Hill.
there's been a good intensity about Tottenham without the ball in this second half. As soon as they've lost possession, they've tried to win it back quickly. Both Kane and Heel both tracking back in midfield, and they do win it back, and here they come again.
Now Pape Sarr into the path of Son. Kane tries to poke it back, but he's given the ball away to Piggott. Piggott does well to turn and slips it forward towards Karoma, who makes the run down the centre, and the free kick's been given to Tottenham, and Davinson Sanchez will receive a yellow card. It's a free kick rather to Portsmouth, only about 15 yards inside the Tottenham half.
Well, who's got the yellow card there? Is it Davinson Sanchez or is it Ben Davies? Because Davinson Sanchez's tackle on the stretch looked like he'd won the ball. I think there's a nudge from Ben Davies prior to the tackle from Davinson Sanchez, which is why he's given that decision. I think it's Ben Davies that's been booked.
Well, it's a free kick for Portsmouth, and they will send everybody forward here. In the 90th minute, we're into 3 added minutes here on Talksport. Spurs leading by a goal to 0. Jacobs with the free kick. Ogilvie rising at the far post. Raggett will try and head the ball in field. He's been part of FA Cup drama very late in games in the past. Spurs will clear, but here is Hume again. Midway inside the Tottenham half. Lays it wide to Swanson. Further down the line. And Tottenham now may have to do some defending as Karoma goes down right on the edge of the penalty area, but no free kick has been given, and Tanganga will release Royale. Royale coming forward into the path of Kane. Kane's ball forward is blocked by Ogilvie, and eventually it is cleared by Thompson on the far side, and it will be a throw-in.
Great work from Pape Sarr. Again, he's done a lot of the dirty side of the game. Driving forward there, Karoma. It's Pape Sarr that once again gets back and makes the challenge on the edge of the box. There's nothing in that. It's really good defending from the central midfielder.
Alfie Devine now coming on for Tottenham to replace Brian Heel. And Devine, an under-19 international, was part of the England side which won the Euro under-19 last summer. And he comes on to get some first-team minutes here. But it's been a day which I think everybody will leave satisfied. Portsmouth have seen their team give a good account of themselves, and Tottenham at the moment are making the way through.
Yeah, time ticking away for Portsmouth. It looks like their race is run, and Spurs are going to be in the hat for the 4th round draw.
Well, they usually are, and they have a very good record against lower league teams. They've not lost against lower league opposition since 1988 when they were beaten at Port Vale, and they're not going to lose this one here today. Portsmouth have a free kick midway inside their own half, and Griffiths will pump it forward long. Raggett and Morrison will stay forward now. It's flicked on by Curtis. Piggott on the edge of the penalty area, but Skip just gets a boot in to clear. Kane flicks it on, and Devine will try and break over the halfway line, wearing number 45, and he's done well. Son has wandered into an offside position. Devine was aware of that, so he's played it wide to the far side, and Royale, and now Son inside the penalty area, and Tottenham just looking to play out the clock here. Royale lofts it square to Skip. Kane back towards Skip again, and Spurs managing the seconds here in the final moments, but Jacobs does well to win it back and then pokes it straight out of play.
Yeah, game management for Tottenham now. Just keep the ball, see out these remaining seconds. Portsmouth fans in good voice, but their team are heading out.
Well, they've done well to hold out for long spells in this game, but Tottenham are through. Job done in the end, and yet again, thanks to Harry Kane, a spectacular goal from him 6 minutes into the second half, and that proved to be enough. Portsmouth were a tough nut to crack, but Tottenham are into the 4th round draw. Full time, Tottenham Hotspur 1, Portsmouth 0.
Thank you very much, Nigel Adderley and Matt Holland. Yeah, glory, glory, Tottenham Hotspur ringing out around here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Some fans holding up boards saying, Harry, can we have your shirt? What a day it's been for Harry Kane, then scoring his 265th goal for Tottenham Hotspur. He is now just one behind the late, great Jimmy Greaves. So that record well within his sights. And the Portsmouth fans are cheering their team. They put in a good shift against Tottenham Hotspur today. Really, really loud throughout the game. actually, and the Pompey fans are now cheering the team who are heading over to thank them for their support, and for, of course, travelling all the way from the south coast to London today with those travel disruptions as well. So you can see the great relationship there between the fans and the players, and they deserve that, the fans, for being here today, for the support that they gave. The Tottenham players, I should say, are still on the pitch. Harry Kane, a little nudge to the fans from him, of course. What a day for him, and Tottenham know that they got the job done today, and that was really the most important thing. Let's take a look at the halftime highlights then, or the full-time highlights, I should say, with Matt Holland. Matt, it's been one of those games that Tottenham just had to grind out. I saw there's the Athletic correspondent on Twitter, Tim Spears, saying it's second half United or second half FC, and that is really what Tottenham have become. But they needed to find the magic from somewhere, and they did, and they got through it.
Yeah, they needed some inspiration. They needed a bit of quality to break the deadlock against a deep, defensive, organised Portsmouth side who frustrated Tottenham, certainly in that first half for long periods, and in the second half, Spurs didn't create too much. And it was a moment from nothing, really, from Harry Kane. He's an absolute magician. He's a genius. He knows where the back of the net is, and he did it again superbly. Picked the ball up 30 yards out, a little 1-2, gets half a yard, and he bends it into the corner. It's a half chance for Harry Kane, and that's the difference between the two teams. You said there was a sign, Harry Kane can have a shirt. I'm sure there's a big long list of Portsmouth players that will be chasing him down that tunnel, desperate to get Harry Kane's shirt first. But he has still got it at the moment. He's walked down with his Tottenham shirt on still. But I'm sure that the Portsmouth players will be in that dressing room knocking on the door trying to get Harry Kane's shirt. 265 Spurs goals.
It's
just one behind Jimmy Greaves.
It's incredible. And that stat as well, before I read that out, actually, you can see the Portsmouth players all in a little huddle there on the pitch. You know, they're going through a tough run at the moment, winless in their last 9 games, still not a permanent manager in place at the moment, but you know, there's unity in that side. And even actually, as Danny Cowley was let go from the club, but even the statement from the club, you know, they really did thank him for his efforts. They really did seem to have this warmth towards him as well, knowing that, you know, okay, he couldn't reverse the slide, but you know, there's warmth in this club. There's a hope. There's a possibility, perhaps, of things turning in an upward direction.
There's a lot to be proud about today as well. Tough environment, tough opposition, tough ground to come to, and they've given a really good account of themselves. I think it was a really good performance from them against high-class opposition. And they are going off to warm applause from the Portsmouth fans. They have turned up in the numbers, and they're proud of their team today. They've put in a performance. They've worked their socks off, absolutely worked their socks off, and obviously go away disappointed. They're not in the hat for the next round, but now the focus turns to League One. Can they get in the playoffs at the very least?
Yeah, at the very least. That's what they'll be looking at as they start to make their way off the pitch finally after that little team huddle, which certainly, as we were saying, just shows that there's so much to be proud of and so much unity within that side and with their fans as well. Okay, it's also